This is Sports Shorts Radio. It's the fastest 2 hours on the radio, covering it all from the Fighting Tigers of LSU to the tracks of NASCAR on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now, here's Ronnie Rance, Tommy Krysan, and Hunter McCann.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Sports Shorts Radio every Saturday morning from 10 to noon. I hope you're having a great one if you're listening to us in Lake Charles, Lafayette, or the Baton Rouge area. We are live today for the next 2 hours over at BRQ. BRQ is the official catering service of LSU Athletics. And over here at BRQ on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, they have some of the best barbecue, some of the best seafood, and have an awesome kind of area in the back where you could have weddings, you could have parties, your fundraisers, you name it. In the back part is amazing. They have a stage and all that as well. It's all at BRQ. They're opened. I already said that. We're located right on 10423 Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. And, of course, at BRQ, they're supporting local farmers and vendors, focusing on quality, making everything fresh and in-house. And, of course, if you've never been to BRQ in Baton Rouge, you've heard about it because it's famous for their desserts, famous for their cake. They have the largest slices of cake I think anywhere on the planet. I mean, is that safe to say?
I mean, it's hard to imagine a bigger piece of carrot cake than what TK and I saw a couple months ago here at BRQ. It comes out in a cake pan. I mean, it comes out in a big metal tin.
It's a 5-pound
foil pan,
piece of cake.
and it's 5 pounds.
Well, that's when it's to go. They don't bring you the foil pan if you're eating here. It's
You're
just
right.
FYI.
Correct. Yes, it comes out on a big plate, but it fills up the entire foil pan.
By the way, kids eat free on Mondays with the purchase of an entree. I wish I'd have had that when my daughter was little, and I would have been here every Monday. But anyway, BRQ, man, we're looking forward to it, and we'll tell you more about it throughout. It's a great place for holidays when you're trying to figure out where to go to eat with the family. BRQ. All right, fellas, the NFL draft, we're going to be in day 3 today. We're going to talk about the Saints pick. We're going to talk about some LSU players that are gone. LSU baseball, it's now, 7 SEC games in a row?
That's right, 7.
7 games in a row that LSU has lost, and you don't really say that much in the history of the program.
And by the way, since LSU started the season 8-0, everybody was fired up, including
Number 1 in the country.
Their record since then, 16-19.
That's unbelievable. And again,
16-19. Let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah, 16-19, and in the SEC right now, they are 6-13. They only have 11 games left. And with the 11 games left, 14 gets you automatically. I mean, at this day and age, 14's a lock. With 14 wins in the SEC, you're a lock to be in a regional. Obviously, that Mama Nard High math tells me they've got to go 8-3 in their last 11. 13 wins probably gets it done.
Yes.
So that's better. 7-4, they've got to go in their next 11. If you get to 12 wins, which would require them to go 6-5, 12 wins, that means I would think they probably have to go to the, Hoover and win a couple to really give themselves a chance. I don't think 12 wins alone gets it done.
You got to grab a couple.
I think you got to go win at least 2 over there. But guys, there's no, I mean, that's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, why would you? There's nothing about this record is 6-13 right now. You don't have Jake Brown. You don't have Cooper Moore. They're arguably one of your best pitchers. I think Jay Johnson, by the virtue of his lineup and all the young players he's playing and all that, I don't want to say he's throwing in the white flag because, I mean, you're not going to ever quit, but you're saying, like, this year is pretty much a wrap.
I mean,
we're playing for the future
what
and
can you
developing
do?
these guys.
Well, it was told to me yesterday. I don't want to say his name on the air. That it's basically tryouts. It's like who
do I want to keep?
Who am I going to want to say go find somewhere else to play,
Mhm.
or I really want you back in. We're going to work on X, Y, and Z. And so I think that's what's happening. I mean, Jay Johnson's been around. He knows that this team even if somehow they snuck into a regional, the chances of coming out of that are slim and none.
And then even with all the bad luck leading up into yesterday's game, like, you lose 6 games in a row in conference play, and you feel like you need to grab this game on Friday. Kason Evans is probably your best chance. He scratched 30 minutes before first pitch for Gavin Guidry, and after the game, Jay Johnson said he had discomfort in his arm, and they're going to evaluate him and see how it goes. But it's unknown if he'll pitch this weekend or if it's going to be a lengthy
Coach,
injury.
let me tell you something. He's not
No.
pitching this weekend. You don't scratch a guy who's had a week's rest, and 30 minutes before game time, he feels something. Well, he's not going to wake up today and go, man, it feels great, and they're going to trust it,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
No,
this
you're
day and
right.
age of a guy like him, when your team is such in a bad spot, but forget the record. This day and age with agents and the way we if you feel anything, they shut you down.
And why risk it right now where the team is in the gutter? And
They're going to, out of an abundance of caution, they're going to hold him out this weekend. They're on the road to Mississippi State. They're not going to, he needs an evaluation from a doctor, MRIs, all those types of things.
Well, I walked in today. TK hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I walked in. He's like, "You watched that baseball game last night?" I was like, "Sure did." And he was like, "Bad teams find ways to lose games, and good teams find ways to win." That's
Mississippi
exactly
State
what
found a
Mississippi
way
did.
to win. They're a good team.
You were right. I mean, you're right, man.
That's an old cliche. Ronnie don't like cliches, but this one fits last night's game because LSU scores 3 in the top of the first. Okay, hey, boom, great start. State answers with 2 in the bottom of the first. So, and you still got a long way to go. Then LSU led 7-3 at one time. I mean,
Then you can't turn
lead-
the double play
lead,
late, and you just everything that could have gone wrong for the Tigers in terms of.
well, that was the only error tonight by LSU.
Yeah, but it
was
comes
a
at a
big one.
timely
It was
point.
A big one. Big one.
It comes at a timely point where those are the type of moments that good teams don't hesitate to put their foot on someone's throat and finish them off. And LSU has just not been able to do that. It's not just the game last night. It's multiple times this year that they have found ways to lose baseball games, always in the close ones. They just can't get it done.
The LSU's just not a good team. For various reasons. Obviously, they have players that are hurt and all that, but they've also had players just have bad years. And, a guy like Chris Stanfield went 1 for 7 last night. He led your team a year ago in batting average in the SEC, and now he's hitting 230 for the season, something like that. So, but then you have other guys that you went and got in the portal, and none of them have worked out. It's just been one of those years. And in a game where you went on the road and faced one of the better pitchers in the SEC, and you knock out Valencius, in the 4th inning, you get 8 hits off of him and 7 runs and all that. You can't get it done. Now, it's not fair. That's a tough spot for Gavin Guidry to be in,
absolutely.
where you're not at all anticipating that you're going to start a game and all of a sudden it's a fire drill and they tell you get loose and go. But you had a 7-3 lead at LSU going into the bottom of the 4th. You blew that, and then you take a 1-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th. You can't hang on to that. And then in a tie ball game in the 11th, you give up Zach Cowan gives up a 2-run walk-off homer, and the celebration began. With no Kason Evans expected to throw this weekend because of that late scratch, you burned Guidry, who threw 47 pitches. He's not available at least today. You have 4 guys that threw 40 or more pitches last night. Devin Sheeran, who's been your best reliever out of the pen. Santiago Garcia, who's been making some strides. Zach Cowan and Gavin Guidry, all of those threw 40 or more pitches, which means none of them can throw today, and maybe a couple of them can come back on Sunday.
The worst case scenario for this LSU team, more so than just losing the game, was to lose the game in extra innings, having to burn more pitching, having to get yourself in a situation where it's already been shaky on the mound, where you've had to scramble to put guys together on a Sunday. Now you're burning guys already through Friday. Today's a must-win.
Your only chance to win a game is today.
It's a must-win.
This weekend.
If not,
William Schmidt's got to be amazing, and that's it.
The season, if it already has not got the crosshairs on the forehead, today is the end of the road, in my opinion. You got to win today, or the rest of it's going to end up being lanyap, and you're just in such a tough situation that they're going to have to find a way to win the game. And, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Ronnie, so I looked last night before the game, plus 1,600 for the Tigers to win the College World Series. The betting market for college baseball is so terrible. It's so terrible. Plus
It's
16.
still only plus 1,600.
Plus 2,200 this morning, the ninth best odds. So they've dropped now from the third best odds to yesterday.
They're even going to
They had
make
the
a
six.
regional, and
Now they have
already
the
still
correct.
top 10.
They're
That's so
still top
ridiculous.
10 for the odds to
Because of
win
the
the
name.
college,
Yeah.
just because of the name brand, and
Yeah.
because of the fact that college baseball betting is a niche thing.
Right.
They don't
Not enough
have to
people.
offer you the other way where you could bet LSU not to make the College World Series or not to
Right.
win the College World Series.
Right.
So they don't get burnt. The Vegas can't get burnt in this situation. They might as well cover the rear end and put LSU there
That's
with
you might as well not
reasonable
even-
odds.
That's so silly.
Awful odds.
You try to what's wrong with this Tiger team? Well, again, the bats have started to come around a little bit. They did have some bright spots yesterday, though, as Tommy mentioned. Potentially tryouts going on. 1, 2, 3. They have 5 batters in their lineup that had 2 or more hits. Curiel had a couple of hits. Cerna had 3 hits. Milam had 2 hits. He's really been coming on the last few weeks. Mason Braun had 2 hits. William Patrick, the freshman from Monroe, was 2 for 6. But here's where your Achilles heel, and it's been that way all year. 8 walks, 2 hit by pitches. As a staff, LSU walked 8, hit 2. Oh, by the way, only struck out 9. And that's just not going to get it done.
Across
Also,
11 innings.
Throw in the wild pitches and the pass balls, which have been they
how-
lead
how-
the country. In,
How many more of those did they have?
just-
Sheeran had a wild pitch. Garcia had a pitch. So they had 2.
Yeah, 2.
And that's about what they're doing. They came into before Tuesday's game averaging about a 1.5 wild pitches. I know they had 3 on Tuesday, and then they had 2 today. So they're trending towards averaging right at about 2 wild pitches per game. And oh, by the way, some of those wild pitches, I'm being a former pitcher, I'm a little bit on.
pass ball.
Pass
They should
ball,
be
yeah.
pass balls, or at minimum should have been blocked or stopped.
Question. I know all these catchers, even in the big leagues, I like to get on the one knee now. When it's 2 strikes, shouldn't you not be on one knee? I mean,
Tommy,
mean,
I
I'm old, I get
there's
it.
not enough people out there that care about the whole 1 knee discussion, 2 knee discussion, but the 1 knee catching thing is atrocious. When someone is on base, we're still doing the 1 knee. It blows my mind, and like anything, I think it creates bad habits, so that when you do have to block baseballs and stuff, it's unbelievable. All right, let's talk about the draft for a minute. Give me your reaction to the New Orleans Saints 8th pick overall.
Want to go first?
that wide receiver, big guy, 6'2", a little over 200 pounds. He's got really good numbers, in particular the last 2 years at Arizona State. His first year he played at Colorado, not much there. And a lot of the clips they showed of Jordan Tyson where Sam Levitt was throwing the ball to him. So keep that in mind, LSU fans. But the upside is huge, but there's a big red caution flag or yellow caution flag. He's had some significant injuries all during his career. So the question is going to be, what's the best availability, if he's going to be able to be on the field. And he doesn't have to be the number 1 guy, because Olave, if he can stay healthy, would be the number 1, and then Tyson can be 2. And I think it's got plenty of potential, but he's got to stay healthy and stay on the field.
Well, it's a lethal double-head snake between both Tyson and Olave, if healthy. And that's the biggest thing. Without a doubt, in my opinion, the argument can be made for Carnell Tate, but I think Jordan Tyson was the best wide receiver in this draft. Hands down, bar to none. Just by a pure skill level, playmaking ability, contested catches. He can go up and get anything. He could play any receiver position. You line him up in the slot, line up on the outside, line up on the inside. Whatever you want him to do, the guy had made plays at college all across the field. The biggest thing is if healthy. Once again, if healthy, I love the Saints' choice. Now, the Saints have not had a great history of being able to keep guys healthy or bring guys back from injury and keep them healthy afterwards. It's the guy that we're talking about in 23 that had a ACL and UCL injury, came back from that. Then he had a bone injury. Then I believe it was collarbone. I have to go back and double check.
Yes,
but
it was.
yeah, collarbone injury. And then last year was nagging a little bit at the hamstring. Now, none of those are, injuries in football happen. None of those are extremely, I'm not worried about the collarbone, to be honest with you. I'm not really worried about the ACL, because ACLs happen all the time and people come back all the time. The hamstring's annoying because those type of things
Linger.
They linger. They spark back up, and all the tests and everything through the combine showed the hamstring is healthy and showed that he's 100% ready to go. But it just makes you feel like the hamstring could act up at any point here in his rookie season and sideline him, and it'll make this pick a little bit less positive.
By the way, only the third time in New Orleans Saints history that they have picked 8th overall in the draft. Hopefully they hit on hopefully they hit on Jordan Tyson the way that they hit on one of the last ones they did. 1993, they took a guy by the name of Willie Roaf, who became a Pro Football Hall of Famer with the 8th pick overall, the former O-lineman out of Louisiana Tech, who they have a great statue of him over at Louisiana Tech in front of the football stadium. They have a statue kind of courtyard with all the greats like Karl Malone and Kim Mulkey and others that are there. But yeah, look, this is, I guess, technically a risky pick because of the history of injury. A collarbone, that's whatever. And the knee injury stuff was 2003. I mean 23.
Yep.
That's been 3+ years ago. So there's enough of a history line and a lot of sample size to say, okay, he's okay. We're fine with it. I'm sure they tested him and evaluated him when he came in and all that. The good news is that I think with the 3-year window, he should be fine.
I agree. I think it's a risk that the Saints are obviously willing to take, and I like the pick a lot. I did think at the time, and I still would have loved for them to go corner and have the opportunity to take what's his name?
You talking about Bain or who?
No, a corner from I'm drawing a blank. Cowboys took him.
Downs.
Downs. Thank you, Caleb Downs. I wanted them to go Downs there at 8, but I do think the receiver position, adding the lethalness of that guy on the outside for Tyler Shuck to be able to get the ball to. It's going to be great to watch Kellen Moore cook with this offense.
Yeah, I would have. I would be okay with. I like the idea that they went and got a big time plug and play receiver with that pick because they absolutely need some juice. I think Olave is a nice player, but to think he's a number one, difference maker guy, I don't see him.
He is for them right now.
Well, he has to be.
And I will say, if Olave plays like he did the last 6 weeks of the season last year, he can be wide receiver 1. And I do think the addition of Tyson it's going to be very difficult for defenses to play one-on-one on those two guys. It will open up both those receivers to be playmakers.
Admit that the last 6 games of the season were maybe the softest schedule that the Saints have ever had in the history of that program. From a standpoint of they were playing teams that were as bad or worse, and they were playing teams that had injuries and had nothing to play for, for the most part.
Tommy, Ronnie's really upset that the Saints burned him on his futures pick there in the last few games of the season. He's still a little salty.
That's very true. It's very true. I couldn't have prognosticated before the season that the last 6 games were going to be down and soft.
Who did prognosticate that? Joel Davis. I remember when we started last year, when he was talking about Tyler Shuck would come in the back of the year and win 6 games in a row.
Don't
well, see, Olave's got upside, Tyson's got upside, but upside doesn't win games. Production, make the defense be worried about you. That's what wins games. So the possibilities there. But you got to do it once they kick the ball off and the refs there,
Yeah, I mean, look, usually when the fans get excited about a skilled position player or a receiver or something like that, the Saints go the other way.
Yeah.
Get an O lineman, D lineman, something like that. This time you actually went and got the explosive skilled position player to give yourself a high pick.
My least favorite part of the first round was the fact that the Buccaneers got Reuben Bain. That was about it.
Yeah.
I hate that guy's going to be playing in the Saints division for years to come.
Yeah. All right, we're over here at BRQ. Before we go to break, tell you about River of Life capsules. And maybe you needed a little River of Life, Hunter, when you were getting upset about Reuben Bain, because it would have helped you be mellow and chill. Riveroflifecapsules.com has a lot of positive side effects, but the main reason you take it is if you're taking over-the-counter medications and you've got inflammation, back pain, knee joint pain, arthritic pain, whatever in your body, and you're going to the store and you're spending all that money on taking all those over-the-counter medications, stop doing that and get on River of Life capsules. capsules.com. Call River of Life. It's all natural ingredients. It's locally sourced and made, and you could call Angiogenesis Medical at, go on riveroflifecapsules.com. Angiogenesis has offices right here in Baton Rouge. They are the creators of River of Life. They can tell you all about it, give you some information. If you want to meet with them, fine, go over there. It's off of Essen Lane by Our Lady of the Lake Hospital. riveroflifecapsules.com. Try it today. All of us have, and it helps you with any sort of inflammation, pain, whatever. And it's got positive side effects, which one of them is chilling out. Just being,
I needed some. I did.
Helping you with a little mental clarity. And when you're all upset driving and you get the road rage, little River of Life capsules in your life. We'll take a break. Be back with more Sports Shorts Live from BRQ. And when we return, we'll continue to talk about the draft. We'll tell you about some New Orleans Saints. We'll get into, the LSU players going, as well as who the Saints took in the second and third rounds. That's coming up next. Sports Shorts will continue. And Joel Davis at around 10:35. Don't go anywhere. We'll roll on right after this.
Need a win for your next group out of
alongside Hunter McCann and Tommy Chrysan. We're over at BRQ on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. BRQ, barbecue, seafood, fantastic stuff. Kids eat free on Mondays. They, of course, had the famous carrot cake, complimentary, by the way, when you sign up for the monthly newsletter, access to the birthday club. So all you got to do is sign up for it, and you get a free giant piece of.
Well, your birthday's next month. We got to figure that out.
Yeah,
yeah. Free one.
Well, no doubt, May 23rd. So we look forward to that. We'll be getting a little birthday action. They also have full bar with craft cocktails. They have happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. And my favorite, weekend brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 10:30 to 3 o'clock. They have a fantastic brunch. We'll be munching down on that here today over at BRQ. The New Orleans Saints, second and third round picks. Break it down for us, Hunter.
Like Christian Miller a lot. Defensive lineman from second round pick, defensive lineman out of Georgia. The second and third round pick were Georgia guys. And Miller brings to this team something that they lacked last year. The Saints were 19th in the league in run stop, and he's a great run stop and defensive guy. He plugs holes really well, and he was described at the combine as kind of a Swiss Army knife. He was a guy that you could plug and play as a true nose tackle or in the three technique. And I think it allows Brandon Staley to kind of do what he wanted to do last year, but it didn't really work out with the personnel he has, and play a traditional 3-4, because this Saints team does not have a true nose tackle. And it brings in a guy like Miller that can be, like I said, plug up the holes in the middle and allow those backs to have to kick outside to beat the Saints. And linebacker play, I know we don't have DeMario Davis anymore, but the linebacker play for the Saints has always been really well at being able to fly around and contain things inside. So I think that's a well-needed guy that they're going to try to get him a little bit more experience in the pass rush, but that's not his main purpose for being out of here in the second round. And then Oscar Delp, Joel Davis, who we'll talk to here in about 10 minutes or so, was very high on Delp. He told us before the day 2 yesterday that he was hoping the Saints would go the tight end route in the third round and get Delp, because he thought that he was undervalued and was going to be a steal in the draft. And sure enough, the Saints agreed with Joel and took Delp. And he's a guy that not only can sneak underneath and being able to be a playmaker for Tyler Shuck and to get the ball out in the flat and make a play, but he's extremely great on the outside of being able to block. It's going to allow both Jawan Johnson and Noah Fant to have opportunities here in these three tight end sets to make plays and allow Delp to be a decoy or be able to be an outside blocker. So I think it's another great addition to this Kellen Moore offense. And the more and more that things get in place here with these type of weapons, it's going to allow for a lot of creativity for the Saints. So two Georgia guys off for the Saints. And then now the biggest question mark moving into day 3 is going to be cornerback. It's the biggest need left available. And the Saints have 2 fourth-round
picks today.
Correct, and 2 in the 4th round.
Yeah, by the way, they haven't moved yet.
No, they have not.
Yeah, the Saints haven't done any trades.
There's been a lot of
they have 2 in the 4th round, 2 in the 5th round, and 1 in the 6th. That's 5 picks scheduled or on the board today, unless what Ronnie just alluded to, they make a move. If there's somebody who they really want, they got the ability to move around a little bit.
So there is a plethora of cornerbacks. The draft so far has worked out really well for the Saints in terms of entering day 3 with the needs you have and the guys available. The biggest issue for you is the fact that you're near the end. Both those picks, I believe it's 132 and 136, are kind of near the end of the 4th round. So I'm not sure how far that these guys are going to fall, because of the 4 top cornerbacks left available, they also in the top 9 best available on the board. So if I'm the New Orleans Saints, I'm making a play here when day 3 starts to try to jump up here back towards the top of the 4th round. May have to give up one of those 4th round picks to move up to get there.
They have that luxury.
They have that luxury, and it's a need that you need, because you have Gerard McCoy, who's from Tennessee, who's still up there that a lot of people wanted the Saints to take instead of Delp. He made it to day 3, so you have the opportunity to still go and grab him. He has some injury concerns, and I think that's why a lot of teams have kind of stayed away from him. But me personally, I think he's worth the day 3 risk on that. Also have Keontae Scott, another guy from Miami, cornerback that would allow the Saints to have a lockdown position, because you got to add some type of depth here to the outside, because you only have 2 true corners that are currently on the Saints roster.
Well, and Ronnie made a good point yesterday on Sports Shorts Friday that this team's not 1 or 2 players away. They're not 3 players away. So having 5 picks today, if you can get 3 of those guys to make the roster, and maybe 1 on the practice squad, then, that's what they need. They need players. They need players in all spots. Obviously they got a quarterback and there's some other positions that are pretty solid, but they need more than 1 or 2 or 3 plug-and-play guys.
Well, so far in this draft, I'd give the Saints an A- in terms of productivity that I think that these guys can give, and I think that these are 3 guys that will immediately start for the Saints, and that's what you want. then give them an A+ if they can find a way here to move into a higher part of the fourth round and take a top corner here, because then you've got almost every need you need, every position of need, and now you go grab yourself a couple offensive linemen or a linebacker in the last few picks of day 3, and I think you got a solid draft for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk to Joel Davis. We'll also get into LSU's picks. Mansur Delane going to the Chiefs 6 overall. The Chiefs moved up to get him. That's how much they thought of him. A.J. Halsey going 78th overall to the Indianapolis Colts, the safety. And then Xavier Thomas, the wide receiver, going 3rd round, 89th overall to the Bears. That, to me, surprises me. I thought Xavier Thomas had a lot of the P word, potential, but never, what did he, didn't really do, didn't do it for me. Where was the punt return stuff, and where was the, had a flashes, but to be 3rd round, they saw something they really liked in him.
The Bears fan base at least hated the pick last night, is from what I saw, because Thomas, who we all saw, and he has a lot of potential, like you said, upside, was a guy that was still probably going to be there in the 5th round. He was projected to be somewhere in the middle of the 5th round, had a lot of upside, and I think you take him in the 5th round, you feel pretty good about the pick, but burning a 3rd rounder on Thomas will be interesting.
I would want more production from a 3rd rounder than what he showed. And then, of course, no Garrett Nussmeier. So we'll talk about him.
Harold Perkins.
Harold Perkins still on the board, which, think about after his freshman year. If Harold Perkins comes out after his freshman year into the draft, there ain't no way he's making it past the 2nd, right? And then, of course, Nussmeier, the same thing. If he doesn't even play this year, he's going to be a top 3-round pick for sure.
When I think of Harold Perkins, I think back to now LSU coach Lane Kiffin. When he was at Ole Miss, they played in Tiger Stadium, and LSU dominated the second half and ended up beating Ole Miss. And they asked Lane Kiffin after the game, said, what was the difference? He goes, that guy number 40, which was the number Perkins was wearing that day. And I never forgot that. And ironically, Lane's now the coach at LSU, but that's how good that guy came out to shoot as a football player for LSU. And now he's hoping to get picked on day 3. If he doesn't get picked, he'll sign free agent. But
and yesterday, you and I talked a little bit about Garrett Nussmeier right before the 3rd round started. I said I thought he was going to go in the 3rd round, and I ate my words about 30 seconds later, because the only reason I thought that was I thought the Steelers would take him than the pick they had coming up. Instead, they went the Drew Aller route and grabbed the guy from Penn State. So
yeah, Drew Aller from Penn State. All right, we're over here at BRQ, former Best of Baton Rouge winner. BRQ Barbecue and Seafood, fantastic stuff on Jefferson Highway. Been open since June 6, 2017, so a birthday right around the corner. We will take a timeout, be back with more Sports Shorts when we return. We'll talk to Joel Davis, the owner of Woodenhaven Furniture Company, and, of course, my partner last night at
did y'all win?
Dream Teachers fundraiser at LeBears, where it was a Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader dinner competition fundraiser for school teachers across the state of Louisiana. We'll tell you all about it. I'll just tell you this.
Joel was not.
We did not win, but we also didn't embarrass ourselves. There was controversy revolving around our elimination at the Dreamcatchers function last night at LeBears for the teachers in Louisiana. I feel like we got robbed. We'll tell you about it. Sports Shorts will continue from BRQ right after this.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because I can't hear anything
can't hear
in
either.
my headphones. Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you at BRQ Restaurant on Jefferson Highway. It's BRQ, of course, been in business for nearly 9 years or so. Supporting local farmers, vendors, focusing on quality, making everything fresh and in-house. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Joining us right now, and I can't hear anything, so hopefully I can hear him. Joining us right now is Joel Davis. Joel Davis joining us from Woodenhaven Furniture Company in the heart of Mid-City. JD, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, bud. You can hear me?
I got you.
Okay,
But before we
good.
went to break, I of course, we're going to talk NFL draft with you. We've kind of gone through that. We're going to get into also the LSU picks and whatnot. But before we went to draft, I teased how you and I were partners last night at a fundraiser for Dream Teachers across Louisiana, raising money for them to give out all the awards for Teachers of the Year, over 70 different awards throughout the state of Louisiana. They do it at a great gala. They have a World War II museum. And we did last night. It was, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? It was basically Joel and I were a team along with Rue, our mascot for the Baton Rouge Rougarou. And then we competed against like 5 other teams, one of which was Hiller Moore, the district attorney for Baton Rouge, and his daughter Hayden, and others that were much, we had the student body president of LSU, and, these were folks. We had, I think, a NASA scientist. I mean, we had all kind of people. And then there was Joel Davis.
We had no business competing. Let's just put it that
it was
way.
ridiculous that we were on the stage. But
Yeah, we did good.
we did not get eliminated first. We made it to the second round. And the finals, it's supposed to be the top 2 in the finals, but there was some scoring discrepancies and whatnot. So they ended up taking 3 teams in the final.
Foolery, Ron.
Joel Davis and
I'll
I
tell you.
did not make the finals. And Joel, I got to be honest with you, I'm not happy about it because I
No,
felt like we got left out and we shouldn't have.
100%. I'm telling you, the turning point, Ron. The turning point. I've got it. I've thought about it. Couldn't sleep. Talked over it all night long with Cousin Davis because he was in the audience and he agrees. The turning point. What chemical process happens and changes the color of the Statue of Liberty? And me and you had oxidation. I threw it out on you because I'm in the furniture business. I knew it was oxidation immediately. And I'm telling you, Ron, they gave points to people
Who didn't
for
get it
saying
right.
Oxification. Oxification, Ron.
Yeah.
We had some very intelligent people on the board got points for saying oxification.
There was even some kind of oxization or something like with a Z and
How
all
do you
that.
give
Right?
points to that, Ron?
Yeah.
How do you get points for in Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, they throw you off the stage.
Well,
But that's why we weren't in the finals, Ron. That was it. They gave them points for words that they just made up.
this is what happened in my opinion. I figured it out. It's very simple. We, meaning me, bought 2 tables. Other people sold a lot more tables. And at the end of the day, it's about fundraising. It's a fundraiser, and those other folks were more engaged. They provided headshots and sold tables and tickets, and Joel didn't. And so at the end of the day, that's what happened, and that's because we only brought in, $2,500, and everybody else brought in a lot more. We got shafted when it came down to it.
He's talking over me. He's filibustering. So here it is. Ron just buys tables and does nothing else. He just, here's my wallet, and then doesn't do anything else. And then sends me a late email to do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, like as if I'm in charge. So I submitted a picture. Thought it was okay. I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny. Ron doesn't submit a picture. There's a picture of 1982. Ron Rance with a beard.
It was so great. I saw it when
I
saw that too.
Ron's picture was like from 15 years ago before he got his tube side. I mean, give me a break. Before he got on Ron Giorno, all those different things. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And Joel
Like,
had
and
a
then my
zit.
picture,
Joel
I
had a
didn't sit
zit
on my
on
chin.
his chin.
They just pulled a picture. They just pulled a
that's so
picture off my
good.
Facebook page,
Oh, that's great.
and apparently I own Woodhaven.
yeah, I
Not
saw that. It
Woodhaven.
wasn't Woodhaven, just
No.
Woodhaven.
I'm like, are you like? Thanks, Ron. Appreciate you.
Well, at least they didn't
submitted all
say you
that
own
stuff.
Christian Street Market. So there's that. You know,
That
at least
must
they
have
got
been-
it
You're right
kind of
about
right.
The same crew must have produced that did the first round of the draft at ESPN and screwed it all up.
Well, so I wanted to.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, but I wanted
Well,
to.
it's not the. Hold on. It's not the fault of the organization. It's the fault of the providers of the information, right? And I was a little late to the ball game, to be perfectly honest. Ron, I asked Ron a week ago, hey, can I bring my family to this? And he's like, yeah, if you go buy a bunch of tickets. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Okay, we'll go. So I guess I can't do that.
It's a fundraiser,
All right.
Hunter.
Yeah.
At 4:00 yesterday.
Fund raising.
Hold on a second. Hold on. But he didn't. Let's not even get into this, big guy. We're not going to go there. All right.
Fund raising.
At 4:00, I got to be there at 5:30 on Friday. At 4:00, he texts me, hey, bring whoever you want. We got open seats. I'm like, are you kidding me? You think I'm going to call my wife at 4:00 for a 5:30 a show up time at a cocktail attire? Ron clearly isn't married.
First off, not a cocktail attire, and you knew for weeks you were going to be in this event. I mean, like, okay,
Oh my God.
let's move
Look,
on.
my
I
family
mean, just
wasn't
buy a
allowed to
ticket.
come.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on, support the teachers.
I was just gonna
Good
ask,
night,
My
guys.
family was not. Ron, what do I need to buy a ticket for? You had a table with 8 chairs.
Yeah.
Nobody was
It's
there.
called fundraising.
What was the hardest
Unbelievable.
questions they asked you?
Oh, there were some hard ones.
Yeah.
Coach. Like there's
Those
no
are tough
way
ones.
some of these questions were fifth grade questions. By the way, a lot of the fifth
No,
graders
absolutely.
didn't know them. You know what I mean? Like the fifth graders knew. Listen. I'm just gonna call it out. I'm not gonna call them out, so it's okay. There was shenanigans going on. There was cheating
100%.
going on.
100%.
That one of the fifth graders, and I'm not going to name her, one of the fifth graders, round one, Tommy, Matt, I don't know, didn't get any right? Maybe one question right, didn't get it. And then I saw her crying with her family after the first round because you left the stage, you went 8, they did an auction, live auction, which of course Joel didn't bid on anything. And you go to the table and she was crying. I saw her crying. And second round, perfect. Got like everyone right, or maybe missed
Everyone.
one. I don't know. I think I got everyone right. And I
They
saw
coached her up, Ron.
she was looking into the crowd. Her family was sitting in the back. Brother was on the phone. Mom hand signaling, like they must they must have
Ron, this is so absurd.
they have they have
You
sign
are
language.
ridiculous.
Sign language.
You think that they can sign language
Yes,
Mercury and Venus to
I
her?
saw it. I saw it.
Or hold on. Here's one of the toughest questions, and we almost got it right, guys. The toughest question was, what was the name of the volcano that erupted and poured into the streets of Pompeo?
Yeah.
And I knew the
Vesuvius,
answer.
Vesuvius,
I
yeah.
knew the
Right.
answer. It was Mount San Diego.
No. Hold on. Wait.
Wait,
So,
what?
Vesuvius. Here's the thing.
So it's Vesuvius, yes.
I have never been to
I-
Pamplona.
I have
Okay?
been.
I know my mom's sitting here watching on TV and she's like, oh my God, because she's been, 7 times or whatever. But my point is I've never been, I mean, my family should have taken me on vacation more, but I knew that was on the tip of my tongue. So we couldn't come up with it. Right. 3 of us, Rue, the mascot, and Joel and I. So instead, because they said in 1979, this volcano erupted. I started writing Mount St. Helens, right? Washington. I'm like, oh, I got this. And then they went Pamplona. I'm like, erased it. Nope, they don't have that.
Pompeo.
Pompeii.
Yeah, Pompeii or whatever. So I go, we just went for funny and we went Mount San Diego. That's what we went with. Didn't get any points.
But the little girl got it. But
Yeah,
you can't sign language, Mount of Vesuvius or whatever the heck it is.
Vesuvius. I mean, my goodness.
So, but here's the thing.
Vesuvius. How do you
There
sign
was-
language Vesuvius? to your kid
They
on
had
stage,
signals
Ron?
or
You're
something.
so
There was
absurd.
shenanigans going on. She was, I mean,
God, you're
the
so
minute
full of
the question was answered, she was straining her neck to look in the back of the room. Brother's on his phone. Mama's doing some kind of signals and stuff.
What
I
I'm
don't-
hearing is Ron was trying to sign steal. That's what I'm hearing.
I just thought
Ron's looking in the back like they got the
you don't go from getting 0 answers and the Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader fundraiser competition to then all of a sudden in the second round you get them all right. The girl
I
went from
think the
crying.
I think
Girl
that
went
she
from
just
crying.
got coached up, Ron, at
Yeah.
halftime.
Yeah.
She got coached up at
Shenanigans.
halftime. She pulled it together, and she got the
I
question
want to
right.
recount
She
on
wasn't
Joel
cheating.
and I want to recount. I want an audit because I
do too.
And again, it was very loose. Dixon McMakin was the host, and it was very loose. Like who was counting the points? There was
I don't trust them.
I mean, it was bad. It was bad. Anyway, all right.
Hey, Ron,
Let's talk a little NFL.
let's move on from that debacle that we should have come home with the trophy, but of course we got cheated. But let's move on
Mount
from that.
San Diego
Let's
didn't
talk
tell
about
anything, unfortunately.
No, it's not Mount San Diego. It's Mount San Diego. All right. So, and the beautiful thing is Dixon McMakin is so sharp. He actually read it off our board the right way. He didn't read it like Mount San Diego. He read it like Ron Burgundy. Mount San Diego. It was beautiful. Anyway, good. Dixon. By the way, Dixon did a great job.
Yeah,
I thought
he
he
did.
was fantastic.
It was good.
He was really funny, and he carried it, and he made it a lot of fun. So, all right, on to the draft.
Jordan
we have a big
Tyson.
day today for the New Orleans Saints.
I want some short and sweet so I can get through a lot of comments here. So give me 30 seconds on Jordan Tyson, the Saints pick, first pick overall.
I mean, we talked about it. Healthy, he's a steal. Healthy, he's a football player through and through. He's going to make Olave better. Carnell Tate is not the guy that I wanted at that pick because we already got that guy in Olave. I think he's the perfect complement to Olave. Next.
Next one I want to jump to is Georgia.
Are we not
defensive
going to talk
tackle
about Oscar Delp, my guy?
No, we're going to get there. We're going to go in order. We're going to go in order. Second round pick, Christian Miller,
Okay.
the defensive tackle, a need position for depth and
I said
production.
before the pick. You go on my Twitter line. You can look at this. Joel at Red Zone. It was all about defensive tackle for me. We need a defensive tackle. One, because, and it was big. It was, to me, it was bigger than edge. It was bigger than corner. It was bigger than anything else because you lost Demario Davis in the middle, and you already were pretty bad at stopping the run last year. Godshaw is 150 years old. You needed to find someone big that can play defensive tackle, young, boisterous, someone that can get in there and be the leader of this organization and plug the run. And I wanted Caleb Banks, but he went early, and I thought he went a little earlier than I thought he would to Minnesota in the first round. I thought he would be available in the second round. Obviously, he was not. So the next best thing, McDonald went off the board. I think it was between him and McDonald. And I think they got the better player, honestly. I think that they got the better player in Christian Miller. He's a freaking stud. He's a football junkie. You can see Kellen Moore is drafting guys that love football. He's not playing around with guys that like the Davenports of the world that don't really love football. He's drafting guys that are football junkies. All three of the guys that he got love football.
All right, let's
and
move
are
on
high
to
quality individuals.
round 3. Why are you so excited about Oscar Delp? You wanted the Saints to take Oscar Delp. They did. He obviously was, I don't know, the 6th tight end taken or whatever. Why do you like him so much?
He could have been the second. I love him because of what he's capable of. He's a full tight end. He is a complete tight end, 6'5", 245 pounds, 4'4", 740. But here's the number that really blew my mind. It's his power. He's so powerful. He's so electric. Okay, so I always look at defensive ends and their 10-yard split. Are they explosive? Do they get off the line of scrimmage quickly? It's called the 10-yard split, and anything under 1.6 is elite for a defensive end. Like, for example, David Bailey is a 1.62. I hate that about him. So you think he's great, but he doesn't have explosive. He's not very explosive off the line like you think he is. Oscar Delp is a 1.58 off the line of scrimmage, explosiveness, like a 10.5-foot broad jump. This is an electric athlete, dude. This guy's numbers are better than Laporta, Bowers, and Kettle coming out of school. All his measurables are off the chart. Go watch him blocking. This guy can block defensive ends. He is going to be a monster in the blocking game, okay? And then you take his athleticism. They didn't even use him as a receiver at Georgia. They didn't need him. They used him as a blocker, but this dude is very capable of dominating in the passing game. And the Saints know it, and they drafted him, and that's why I wanted him. We needed a Dallas Goedert, and we got one. Yeah. We needed a guy. Juwan Johnson can't block. Foster Moreau, yeah, he can block, but he can't run routes. We got the best of both worlds now, guys. You got a stud. I wanted him in the second. I would have been happy with him at 42. You saw Eli Stowers started going off the board at 53. You knew there was going to be a run of tight ends. It's just, what did you need on your team? Eli Stowers would not have fit with the New Orleans Saints. You've already got him in Juwan Johnson.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about some LSU players that went off the board. Mansour, Delane, 6th overall.
Great
the
pick
Chiefs.
for Kansas City.
Were you
Great pick
surprised
for
where
them.
he went?
I knew that he would go in that range. I mean, it was either the Saints or the Kansas City Chiefs, and I don't think that the Chiefs wanted to take a chance with the Saints potentially taking him because it was a need position, and we'll talk about that in a second because that to me is the number one priority coming into today is cornerback.
Yep.
And there's a lot of good ones there, but Delane could have been the pick at 8. Could have been the pick at 8. It was going to be between him, and obviously Tyson, and Delane's gone. That's why the Chiefs moved up. Plus, you had Washington to deal with, who needed a cornerback. They weren't going to wait. They moved up and got their guy.
AJ Halsey went 3rd round to the Colts, 78th
Great player.
overall.
He's going to be he's going to be in the league for 10 years. He's a stud.
Hunter McCann said that the folks up in Chicago, at least on the message boards, are not happy about Xavier Thomas going in the 3rd round, the wide receiver from LSU, 89th overall. They felt like that was they overreached on him.
Well, look, he's got all the measurables you look for, but I'm just not a big fan of guys that catch the ball with their body. Never have been. Dante Stallworth ruined me on that. I mean, he drafted a guy in the 1st round.
As they used to call
Dante Stallpepper. No, I just don't like the way he catches the football. I like a guy that can pluck the football out of the air. He's more of a body catcher. I'm not a big fan.
All right. Garrett Nussmeier not going in the first 3 rounds. Did that surprise
He's going
you?
today, buddy. He's going early today. No, I'm not surprised. I didn't feel like he would be going, in the first 3 rounds today. I think Drew Allar got picked because he's in Pittsburgh and they can develop him and they need quarterbacks. They need to develop quarterbacks. I think that Nussmeier goes today and he'll go pretty early and it's a development. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints don't move around today and they have that extra 4th or they have that extra 5th round that they pick him. I wouldn't be surprised. And just because his dad is in the organization and they are in the business of developing quarterbacks.
Joel, you talked about cornerback being a must grab here, probably in the 4th round. I talked about last segment how I think New Orleans has got to move up, though. There's 4 great corners left right now. I think there's plenty, but 4 great corners left currently, and they're all 4 of them are in the top 9 best available. Saints have 2 picks in the 4th, but they're at the back end of the 4th round. It feels like they need to make a move here to go get a guy like that, or maybe Spencer Rattler, once again, has been talked about used as a trading piece, maybe trading him around with one of these picks to move up in the 4th round.
Yeah, look, dude, I'm telling you, I would if I could get up to the first half of this draft to get McCoy, I would do it. I would take a flyer on him. The McCoy was considered a 1st round draft pick. They were even talking about him going into the Saints at 8. And now he's got some medical issues with the bones and this, that, and the other, whatever. But this guy's too good. A 4th round pick. We trade 4th round picks like they're nothing these days. So, you know what I'm saying? So you have a compensatory 4th round, and you have the Seattle 4th round. You don't even have your own 4th round because you moved it. Why not package something and go up and get McCoy and take a flyer on him? And if he works out, you got a stud for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah, McCoy, Keontae Scott.
And if it doesn't work out, who cares?
You got any thoughts?
Keontae Scott's still on the board, and I like Keontae, a little older, more of a he's not going to be your boundary, cornerback, right? He's not going to be that guy. He's going to be somewhere in the middle. Is he better at zone? Is he better at man? I think he gets eaten up in man. Kilgore out of South Carolina is your guy. Keep an eye on Kilgore. I'm telling you, that's a stud, an untalked about guy. And then you got the McClutchin kid out of Houston. I love his size. Keep an eye. Those guys, I'm telling you, they got to load up on cornerback. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get another wide receiver. I'm telling you, they need to have a big guy to go to replace Vele. Vele hasn't been healthy for 2 straight years. Stud player, but he doesn't stay on the field. I wouldn't be surprised if we could find somebody, one of those obscure players, 6'4", 6'5", got a little something to him, got a little juice, got a little speed, can catch balls over the middle. Wouldn't be surprised if they double dip with the wide receiver, but a big one, a big guy that kind of fill that hole if Bailey goes out. And then here's another one for you guys.
Real quick.
Quarterback. You talked about quarterback. I think that they may draft, if they intend to move Rattler in any capacity, they're going to draft a quarterback. And they're going to try to develop another. They said they were in the quarterback development business. I love the kid Cole Payton out of North Dakota State. Dude's a freaking stud. He can be an athlete for you in the meantime. And then, of course, how about Taylon Green, dude?
Yeah.
You think Taylon Green wouldn't mind playing another position other than quarterback? How about Taylon Green playing wide receiver for you? Get him in the system, train him up to be a quarterback, and maybe he finally gets it through his thick head. He's not going to be a quarterback, and he can play wide receiver for you in the slot and then replace Vele. Then you got a freak athlete on the inside 2 to 3 years from now.
I agree with that.
All right, he's Joel Davis. Go by Sam at Woodenhaven Furniture Company. You stop by today. You tell him you heard this segment right here on Sports Shorts Radio, and he'll give you 20% off. We will take a break and be back with more Sports Shorts. When we return, we will be telling you about the Zurich Classic, and that segment will be presented by the Island Golf and Country Club. We're over here at BRQ. By the way, some new things on the menu. They got shrimp and grits that they added to the menu on the brunch menu on Saturdays and Sundays. They also have a French toast sandwich that we're going to try. Turkey ham swish on a brioche French toast with maple syrup, strawberry pepper jelly, breakfast potatoes, seasonal fruit, and we'll tell you about some other new things as well. So about 4 or 5 new items on their menu. That's exciting over here at BRQ on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. Sports Shorts will continue right after this.
Shorts Radio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. Sports Shorts will be with you till noon today on ESPN Radio in Lake Charles, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge. Quick segment right here. This segment brought to you by the Island Golf and Country Club, one of the great golf courses in the Baton Rouge area, just about 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge, open to the public. The Island Golf Course, right as you enter into Plaquemine, Louisiana. Go see Chris Bergstaller and the gang. It'll be the home of the Baton Rouge Rougarou Celebrity Golf Classic on May 18th. We'll tell you, about it is event will sell out, and it's going to be fantastic. May 18th will be the golf tournament over at the Island Golf Course. It's a Monday, Baton Rouge Rougarou Celebrity Golf Classic. Update over at the Zurich PGA event down in New Orleans, day 2 underway. They moved up the start of today, expected weather this afternoon. So because of that, they went ahead and moved up the start time. And not a lot of big names in the event this year. It's kind of been sandwiched amongst some of the bigger events on the guaranteed money events on the PGA list. But Matthew Fitzpatrick, who won last week's event in extras, in a sudden death, I think playoff on a 1-hole playoff against Scotty Scheffler. He's one shot back. He's playing. It's the team event. He's playing with his brother.
Yeah, and yesterday they shot a 65 7-under yesterday. Alternate shot to pull within one of the lead right now. And leading right now is Alex Smalley and Hayden Springer. And it's been, really competitive so far. There's a lot of guys within the top 10 or so that are all just a few strokes off the lead. And that usually, especially with the Zurich, when you see it as a two-man group type setting, you see these, they're 15 under right now, Alex and Matt or whatever. But, Matt's playing some of the best golf he's played in his entire career right now. And, last week at RBC Heritage, he won that playoff against Scotty. And he just brings that into this week with him and Alex. And it's always a lot of fun. I'm not going to make it around to the Zurich this year, but I went a couple years ago, and just the vibe there at TPC Louisiana and the golf course is pristine. It's a fun event. If you've never been, it's a great family event to bring your kids to, and you get to see some of the best golfers in the world.
Well, the other thing too is that the golfers enjoy playing it because of the team format.
It's different, yeah.
And that it's. Remember, Rory won it a couple years ago with Shane Lowry, and
I was there for that. Yes,
that kind of that was a big deal, obviously, to get Rory McIlroy there. It was tremendous crowds, but also Shane Lowry's a guy he's best friends with from childhood back in Ireland, and that was fun for them. And it kind of got Shane Lowry going. He kind of ever since then has really played really good golf, and it was fun to see. Not the big names this year. Matthew Fitzpatrick's one of the biggest names, and of course he was a winner a week ago. So be curious to see what the future of the PGA is like in New Orleans. Remember, you've got this live event, which is supposedly going to happen the last weekend in June, which I won't be at because that's also the last weekend in June is the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction weekend. But I don't know if the live event's going to happen or not. It's going to be played in City Park. I can't imagine if the live event even happens, if it's going to be back next year, because the whole live tour is expected to pretty much go away. So it's a strange situation right now. And I'm curious. It's an interesting time, because if live goes away, then what happens to the PGA? I think from a standpoint of the PGA, it changes a little bit how it's handled.
The PGA Tour has eliminated the 2 stops in Hawaii that typically start January off. That's going away. So and you can expect more changes with that. So it's ever changing, like everything.
I feel like the PGA Tour is going through a shift right now, and obviously, if you get rid of the live, that may open up some markets on the live tour. It's also going to maybe change, the perspective of what they do, how they do things. Is New Orleans a big enough market? That sort of thing. The good news is that the 4Kids Foundation, the folks that put on this event, the Zurich Classic, they're in really good financial footing. The New Orleans has excellent sponsorship. They have money in the bank. So from a financial standpoint, this tournament is in good financial shape, whereas that's not always the case in some of these other cities. So It's interesting to see what happens if they move the tournament to a different part of the year or whatever. We'll be back with more Sports Shorts Hour number 2 next, live from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge, the home of the best barbecue in the town. We'll be back with more right after this.
DGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you alongside Hunter McCann and Tommy Chrysan over at BRQ on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. All right, the NFL Draft Day number 3 is underway, and a couple of things. We've already had one pick so far, started at 11 o'clock. Who's going?
Raiders just picked, and they did pick Tennessee cornerback Jermod McCoy, the one that we talked about recently with Joel, who's had knee issues in the past that had prevented him from being a top 10 pick. That's where he was originally projected in the draft. So they get him here at the first pick of the 4th round. So he's off the board and not an option for the New Orleans Saints.
A guy who is not having anything to do with the draft today is the Patriots head coach, Mike Vrabel, who is not – they announced this a couple days ago that he was not going to be involved and be available on day 3 of the draft as he was checking himself into therapy. Okay, well, why can't we wait till Sunday? You know what I mean? Or Monday? You know, like what first 2 rounds of days of the draft, okay. But Mike Vrabel, who of course has had this giant public scandal where he's had an affair with Diana Rossini for now at least 6 years that we know of, because some video came out a couple of days ago of them at a bar, on a date basically 6 years ago during 2020, and nobody quite knew that. So, and it's just getting weirder and weirder. She had a baby in 2020. She named it Michael. But here's my question. Do you think, do either one of you, Hunter and Tommy, think that Mike Vrabel is going to lose his job because of this affair?
No, for me, I only think Mike Vrabel loses his job if he walks away. I don't think the Patriots are firing him.
Well, right. I mean, then I'm saying fired. Is he going to get fired?
No.
Or pressured to resign?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's going to be the coach. Now, whether that's him walking away and saying, I got to get my life straight.
So Tommy won't answer the question directly.
I don't think
you don't think he'll be coaching this fall. You think he'll step away?
I do not think the Patriots will say you're fired.
Robert Kraft's not going to have a press conference and say, we are firing Mike Vrabel and we've named so-and-so the head coach. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think, and we don't know what's behind the scenes. Is his wife going to stand by him or not, or get past it, whatever. But I don't think he's coaching the Patriots this fall.
I think he is.
I think he is. I think personally, I think this is all smoke and mirrors on his part of him just trying to act like he's playing a part and feels bad and yada. I think that everything is fine. He thinks that if he takes his time away, the media will kind of just forget about it. People will stop talking about it. And he'll go check himself into counseling and come back and be a better man. That's personally what I think is happening here. I don't think it'll be anything more than a news story that blows down the road.
So on Wednesday, Vrabel, there was a story that Vrabel's seeking counseling. The New England Patriots fully support Mike Vrabel's decision to prioritize his family first, as well as his own well-being. Mike has been open with us about his commitment to being the best version of himself for his family, this team, and our fans, and we respect the steps that he is taking to follow through on that commitment. We are confident in the leadership and communication Mike has established with our personnel staff throughout his pre-draft process. While he will not be present at the facility on Saturday, we know the draft evaluations are complete, and Elliott Wolf and his personnel staff are prepared to execute our draft as planned this weekend. I go back to first and second rounds. You're okay. Thursday, Friday, with all we're okay. But then part. Saturday, you decide. I just got to get there. Like I don't like did the facility say if you're not here by Saturday, you can't check in on Sunday or Monday. I mean, come on. Like it's just bizarre to me that you don't value the third day draft.
2 is not making 4.
It's weird.
I think personally, once again, it's just his best effort in front of the media and in front of the public to be able to say, I'm trying to better myself and, my mental health is poor because of X, Y, Z, which may be true, but I don't think it is going to be any long-term effect for Vrabel's position with the Patriots.
Look, Robert Kraft, of course, publicly got busted at the massage parlors with the happy endings over in Florida in the a number of years ago. So I don't think he's going to be the one to say, "Hey, man, that's terrible. I can't believe this. This is a family Christian organization. Well, we don't allow that here." I don't think he can do that. And oh, by the way, you're talking about Mike Vrabel, a guy who's won Super Bowls as a player and obviously took them to a Super Bowl as a coach. So he's one of their favorite sons. Like he is like the fans love him. The New England loves him. Robert Kraft loves him. And so for them, they're not going to turn their back on him after this initial
most
embarrassment.
Don't care about off the field stuff. Most don't. We've had other players in the NFL that have baggage. We'll just leave it at that. But if you win, everything's okay. But if all of a sudden if he is coaching the Patriots this fall and they're 3-7, it's going to be, he can't focus, whatever.
Well, it's a difference between Ray Rice, or any of the video where you domestic violence type stuff and you're physically harming another person versus an affair. And that's between their families, right? Their wives and their families, and it's a terrible thing, and it's awful for it's awful for those that aren't involved, the kids, right? Absolutely. And the wives and the husbands that are getting thrown into this public mess to where everybody knows everything. and it's embarrassing to them, but it really has nothing to do with his job.
Bingo. Which is the whole point of why how many things that are worse that have coaches or players continue to play or coach through.
Right.
Then this is a great. It's terrible for the family and it's a terrible situation for those around, like you mentioned. But it's a great conversation starter. The media, social media, everybody pointing their fingers and talking about it. But once again, how many people have been in scandals? Nobody cares about scandals anymore in terms of long-term consequences and effects for those around them. If it involves you internally, of course you care. But other than that, it's unfortunately become the normal in this world. This isn't a Sharon Moore type situation where you have to abandon ship immediately and get away from it as quickly as you can. This is something that will be handled in the next 2 weeks, and he will be back, and he'll be the head coach of the Patriots. And in a couple years, we'll go. You remember that conversation? You think they really were cheating with each other?
I think the thing that's been interesting through this process is to see how Diana Rossini is being run through the ringer, and her career potentially, or at least her career with the mainstream media, is either going to be paused or come to an end. Versus Vrabel, it's the difference between guys and girls. Like the dudes are like, "Hey, bro," and it's like
stupid.
Rossini's like, "Oh my
know.
God, I can't believe she did that. That's how she got all her news, and that's terrible. And she's this and she's that. It's awful how." He kind of is getting a pass, and she isn't.
And it's unfortunately
Right.
the way the world works.
Yeah.
It's not right, and it sucks. And
Right.
she does not deserve to be taking the beating for this. They equally are at fault on this, absolutely. And it, in my honest opinion, should not have been a career-ending moment for either one of them. Once again, whether or not she was told to leave or not is completely unknown. She walked away. For the better of the company or whatever, walked away from her job. And maybe Vrabel will do the same thing. I personally just don't think it's going to happen.
It's not better for the Patriots if Mike Vrabel leaves, I can assure you. All right, we are over here at BRQ. BRQ, of course, seafood and barbecue in Baton Rouge. They have a few menu items, and, of course, they have brunch every Saturday and Sunday. Brunch is served from 10:30 in the morning till 3 o'clock, a fantastic brunch. They got a couple of new brunch menu items. They have the French toast sandwich that's going on right now, so you definitely should try that. To me, it sounds like a little bit like the old Monte Cristo back in the day, right? It's got turkey, ham, Swiss, brioche French toast, maple syrup, strawberry pepper jelly, breakfast potatoes, and seasonal fruit. It's the French toast sandwich. That's brand new. Of course, the BRQ Benedict is one of the more famous ones. It's 2 poached eggs, pulled pork or chicken, atop the buttermilk biscuit, topped with Creole hollandaise, served with breakfast potatoes and fruit. All kinds of great stuff over here. I'm telling you, they have fantastic food. There's not a bad thing on their menu over at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue.
Got a draft update for you just for those around Southeastern's. Caleb Proctor just went in the 4th round to the Arizona Cardinals. So
okay, nice.
So defensive tackle Caleb Proctor.
He had a big night against LSU.
Yes, a huge night. Now, he was actually originally projected to end up being a free agent. He was listed outside of
the draft.
Of
so
the
this
draft.
is a little bit of a reach and a surprise.
He was one of the
They
best
loved
players.
him, but he shined against the Tigers.
He
He
was one
definitely
of the
could
best
compete
players on the field that night, especially if you look at
for
defense.
either
And
team.
who took him?
The Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals. All right, very good. We'll take a break. Be back with more Sports Shorts. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you alongside Hunter McCann and Tommy Chrysan over at BRQ and Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge. We've got day 3 of the NFL draft going on. And, of course, we talked a lot about it in hour number 1. A point of need. When did the Saints draft here in the 4th round?
Saints do not draft. They have 2 picks here in the 4th round. They don't draft until pick 32 or 132, which is 32 in the 4th round, and 36, which is 136 here in the 4th round.
By the way, folks, I trying something new here. They have sweet potato fries, which are brand new. I know that are on the menu over here, and we have the blackened redfish sliders. Here's what's on the blackened redfish slider: tartar sauce, lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles on a brioche slider bun. I went with no tomato on this. Blackened redfish sliders. They were highly recommended with a little side of sweet potato fries. So, I mean, again, it's not just barbecue. They've got great barbecue. They actually have a couple of new things on their main menu. They have the barbecue over stuffed potato, which I'll get next time. It's a choice to pulled pork or pulled chicken. Brisket as well you can choose from over a big giant stuffed potato, or they have seafood stuffed potato, which is either Louisiana shrimp, it's Louisiana shrimp and Louisiana crawfish over the top of a baked potato. That's something new, but I'm going with the blackened redfish slider. So again, seafood and barbecue at BRQ. Good stuff to choose from. All right, back to the Saints. 2 picks in the 4th round. Yep. You think they're going to go DB on one of those? For sure.
I think you have to. I mean, I think you absolutely have to here. And if I'm New Orleans and we're now 6 picks in to the 4th round, got to start thinking about jumping up the board here to come and because the Chiefs just still have the opportunity that if they want to get another corner, they could. I'm not sure they will grab another corner, but they have the opportunity to. The Broncos they need another corner to kind of give Pat Surtain some comfort. So there's still guys that are up here. Well above them that are going to probably in the 4th or 5th round go cornerback. So they got to make a move here soon, I believe, to jump up here in the 4th round.
All right, well, I want to remind folks about Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. I'll be out there Monday night at 6:30 for Sports Shorts Monday. But they got breakfast, lunch, dinner 7 days a week. Steak night is tonight. They get these steaks from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. They have a Sunday brunch, very popular. Go see Jason and the staff at Court Street Cafe, 805 Court Street in Port Allen.
Let's talk a little baseball. Let's talk a little baseball right now with Hunter McCann rocking the Chicago Cubs jersey over
Bregman
here,
jersey.
Feeling at number 3, Alex Bregman, retro throwback jersey. You feeling pretty good about your Cubbies? What, 10 in a row?
10 in a row, man. 10 in a row. Last night they were down 4-0 entering the 7th inning, and they had a big 3-run 7th inning that kind of got sparked by a triple by Dansby Swanson, and then 8th inning they tie up the game, and then come in the 9th inning, top of the 9th inning, a go-ahead 2-run homer from Dansby Swanson puts them with a 6-4 victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers. But that 10 game win streak has not been enough to pull ahead in the NL Central. They are still tied at the top with the Reds, who are also 17-9 right now. Nobody in the NL Central below 500. The only conference currently, or division currently, that is like that, where no team is below 500. So the NL Central has been pretty difficult to win the past few years, and right now every team is competing.
So let's talk about some LSU guys in the pros right now. Paul Skeens, Tommy, last night, what did he do?
He was perfect into the 7th inning. Finally gave up a hit in the 7th. They pulled him out. He got the win. His line score was 7 innings pitched, 1 hit. no runs, obviously, no walks, 7 punchies, ERA down to 2.54. Paul Skeens was dominant. He got torched pretty bad in the season opener, the opening day game. Since then, he's been the Paul Skeens everybody knows and loves. So great outing for Skeens, got the W. Pirates are playing good baseball. Also, former LSU Tiger Kevin Gosman's off to a good start on the season, and he'll take the bump for the Blue Jays this afternoon.
Paul Skeens, I mean, an amazing story how he started off and where he's come to.
Well, they talked about last night on the broadcast. He now has a career ERA through, 2.5 years in the league of 2.01 ERA. And, he's right now the heads-on favorite via Vegas to win the Cy Young again for the second year in a row. And he started with north of a 6 ERA after that poor performance in that first game of the year. Nobody thought that it was going to stay like that, but he's brought that ERA back down. He looked dominant last night, and teams just still cannot seem to figure out how to combat the dominance of Paul Skeens.
Kevin Gosman going today, Tommy?
Yeah, he's 1-1 with a 2.54 ERA. He's had a couple of good outings, obviously, and Gosman, if that sinker's working, he can beat anybody in baseball. And hopefully it's working for Kevin today. Kevin's a big supporter of Sports Shorts Radio and all the stuff that we do.
And Alex Bregman, bringing him back in, he plays for the Chicago Cubs now. He has been fantastic so far in the year when it comes to making contact. Has had a lot of hard outs, but he's kind of turned it around here in the last 10 days or so. Batting average is back to 266 right now. He had a home run last night against the Dodgers that kind of sparked that comeback victory in the late innings for the Cubs. And he's been impressive here in year 10. He just doesn't seem to be slowing down.
So 266 average, but he's really been swinging it like a 300 hitter. Just
North
had a lot of bad fortune.
He has lined out the left field more times than I can count. He has seen the ball so well right now at the plate and making great contact. It's just, unfortunately, it's baseball. Not every ball is going to land in the grass.
There was a lot of question marks about the Cubs signing Alex Bregman because he is such a pull hitter. It's not a short porch, just particularly down the line at Wrigley, whereas it is in Boston, right, with the giant wall out there.
Houston.
And it was in Houston with the Crawford boxes. And you don't have that in Chicago with the wind blowing in a lot, or if you pull it, in that third portion, it goes deep. So it may affect his numbers a little bit.
Well, yeah, he's got 3 home runs on the year, and then, like I said, that third one was last night. I was actually in Wrigley when he hit the 2 against the Nationals on opening weekend. He had 2 that Sunday against Washington. They didn't bring Bregman in here to be the distance hitter. They brought him here to be the consistency, to be able to plug him in the top 3-4 spots of being able to get a guy on base consistently.
And play third.
And, of course, play third base.
And he's good in the locker room, too.
A veteran presence, without a doubt. So, so far, the Alex Bregman experience seems to be working pretty well with the Cubbies on a 10-game win streak. They play the Dodgers.
When are you headed back to Chicago?
Don't have anything on the calendar right now.
When's your next vacation? He's off next Saturday, by the way.
I got a wedding. All right, I got a wedding. I can't. Got to be there for the wedding.
That
but
guy's got a wedding.
To answer your question, I'll take a vacation.
He's at that age.
To New York in July. I'm use some of my PTO and then later in the year.
By the way, we'll take a break, and this segment brought to you by River of Life capsules. River of Life has the top 3 natural ingredients in the world that are as effective as any pharmaceutical or OTC ingredients for pain, arthritis, soreness, and inflammation. riveroflifecapsules.com. We talk about it all the time. It's on less than $40 a bottle. You can get them. You can take 1 a day, 2 a day. You take them as needed, whatever the case may be. All natural ingredients. Stop taking all those over-the-counter medications. riveroflifecapsules.com. It's good for your stomach, liver, kidneys, and brain. Thousands are taking River of Life with fantastic results. You should be one of those thousands and give it a try today. What do you have to lose? I think it's gonna make you feel better. It's gonna save some money, and more importantly, it's all natural ingredients. It's River of Life capsules and Angiogenesis Medical right here in Baton Rouge. They're the creators of it. You can call them. You can get have a Q&A. You can go by and visit with them, whatever the case may be, or just go online and try it. Less than $40 a bottle. riveroflifecapsules.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be over here at BRQ Seafood and Restaurant, and we'll talk some more about the SEC baseball. We'll get into LSU baseball. Don't go anywhere. Sports Shorts will continue right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts Radio. Ronnie Rance, Hunter McCann, Tommy Kreisand, and we're over here at BRQ Seafood and Restaurant trying the blackened redfish sliders. They're excellent. Got some sweet potato fries with it. We tried the barbecue shrimp and grits earlier, and just all kinds of great stuff. Not only just brunch, but also great barbecue as well. Pulled pork sandwiches, baked potatoes. The brisket is amazing. And really nice. Like you could have a bridal reception in there. You could have a graduation dinner, all kinds of special events. And there's a special event area in the back.
They call it the backyard.
Uh-huh.
It's out back.
Amazing.
It's really fantastic.
Really, really nice. BRQ. Don't forget about it on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. What kind of any news of note here in the draft? We're getting ready for the Saints are right around the corner for picking one of their 2 4th-round picks.
Yeah, nothing wild so far. Currently the Jets
no Garrett Nussmeier.
no
so far.
Nussmeier yet. Jets are on the clock with the 10th pick here in the 4th round.
How far away from is the
Saints still got another 22 picks to get to them currently, where they currently stand at 32 and 36 here in the 4th round of draft picks. So
all right,
we'll see how it goes.
Let's talk a little college baseball. This segment brought to you by Gage.
Yeah, absolutely. I got some we're going to get into the college baseball schedule today, but I got some best bets for you on the NHL playoffs. I want to get into that real quick.
What is your record on betting in NHL? Because people don't care about NHL on this show, but they want to make money. So how are you on NHL
We're 57% right now. It's about
that's
5%
for the whole season.
For the whole season, about 5% lower than we were last year, where we were really hot in the NHL. So a little bit lower than last year. We're making money. We're making money. Got 3 games today for you. I'm taking the Flyers today to sweep the Penguins. They've just been so much better in this series. They have a 3-0 lead right now. And where the Flyers have been pretty on point, the Penguins have not been able to get those timely saves from Stuart Skinner. And it's just so critical in the playoffs to have your keeper, be able to have your goalie, be able to make those stops. And he has just not been consistent. I think the Flyers get it done tonight to sweep the Penguins. The Stars are plus money today against the Wild, where the Stars lead 2-1 in the series. Outside of Game 1, the Stars have been the much better team in this series. And really the biggest thing that sticks out to me is how dominant Dallas's power play has been here in the playoffs. They're 5 for 13 on the power play, while Minnesota's just 1 for 11. I think that could be the difference maker in this one because special teams is just so important here in the postseason. I think Dallas at plus money is just too hard to pass up. I'm going to take the Stars this afternoon. And then in just a couple hours, the Hurricanes and Senators play, and it has been nothing but low-scoring affairs between these two in the playoffs. I think we finally see some offense explode in this one because there have been a lot of opportunities that they have just kind of squandered away on both sides of the ice. I think that both these teams will find some offense today, go over 5.5 goals. So once again, take the Flyers to finish off the sweep against the Penguins, take the Flyers on the money line, take the Stars at plus money against the Wild, and they take the Hurricanes and the Senators over 5.5 goals. You can get all my best bets over at WBRZ.com right now. I say right now, you can go over to WBRZ.com right now. There's nothing listed. They will be listed shortly after noon today for the NBA, for college baseball, MLB, and, of course, those NHL picks I just gave you. And you need to remember that in Louisiana, you got to protect your home and business. And the best way to do that is a come-in standby generator from Gage. You can stay powered on in every situation with a come-in standby generator. They have generators in stock at Gage, and they can be installed in just a few weeks. Gage been in business since 1980. You can trust them. They're the #1 Cummins dealer in the Gulf South. So you can contact Gage at 225-753-4243, or you can visit them online at gage.cloud.
All right, over here, let's give you an update on some college baseball that's going around. Let's first start in Lafayette. The Raging Cajuns won last night. They've won now 2 in a row. The Raging Cajuns on the season are 24-17 overall, 8-11. Make some room for them with all that stuff. They're 24-17 overall, 8-11 in conference play. Last night, the Raging Cajuns at home. Let's give you an update on what they won. Let's tell you kind of who. They let's get to it.
You got it.
Here we go. Okay, Arkansas State, who's actually been red hot. Arkansas State, the Raging Cajuns beat them 3-2. And the Raging Cajuns, and so we'll take on Arkansas State tonight at 6 and tomorrow at 1 o'clock. They won, like I said, a couple in a row. The standings in the Sun Belt Conference, because they were way down to start. They got off to a super slow start. Coastal Carolina, of course, who lost in the national championship game to LSU last year, is 16-3, running away with things in the Sun Belt Conference. So the surprise about that is that they're doing it without their ace. They're doing it with a banged up number 2 starters. So that shows you the depth that Coastal Carolina has. But it's all jumbled up sort of like after that. But you have 16-3, the Coastal Carolina. Southern Miss is 12-7, 4 games. I guess about 4 games behind.
Yeah.
Then after that, you go Appalachian State is 11-8, South Alabama is 10-9, Troy is 10-9, Marshall is 10-9, Texas State, Arkansas State, ULM, Old Dominion are all 9-10, and then there's UL at 8-11, tied with Georgia State. So the difference between, I guess, third place and third to last is 2 games. And so it's anybody's game there. Of course, the Raging Cajuns wanting to make sure that they, are hot going into the conference tournament, which will be in Montgomery, Alabama. They have to win their conference tournament to get into the regionals this year. I don't think they're getting in with an at-large or anything. They haven't had that kind of season. They find themselves, again, 8-11, but they've won 2 in a row, playing better baseball.
Got an NFL draft update for you real quick. Just off the board, another quarterback. It is not Garrett Nussmeier. Cade Klubnik off the board goes to the New York Jets. Klubnik, Clemson, of course, but he had a lot of hype going into the season. Did not have the season he hoped for, was actually on the bubble whether or not he would be drafted. Ends up going here.
That is a surprise.
Yeah, he ends up going here as the 10th pick in the 4th round to the New York Jets.
I mean, first game of the year, neither quarterback was amazing, but Klubnik was awful against LSU. And then
he was awful.
He didn't have a good year.
Not at
Garrett Nussmeier at least managed the throws and made some decent plays in that first game. I mean, who'd have ever thunk it that Klubnik would go ahead of Garrett Nussmeier?
Never would have thought that, even with the injuries and everything like that. Definitely thought if I had to put money on it, which I usually do, and I did not this time, but I would have thought Garrett Nussmeier was probably the first quarterback off the board today.
Side with Joel, I will not be surprised if the Saints don't take Nussmeier.
Look, me neither, but they have to get the corner. Look, so if they sit where they are currently, if they stay where they are right now and they don't move, get the cornerback, and then that pick at 136.
I wouldn't waste a pick on a quarterback unless you traded
you trade Rattler. That pick at 136.
Who wants to trade for Rattler? Nobody.
Nobody truly. But at 132, I'd love for the Saints to get a cornerback. At 136, I'd like the Saints to get a linebacker. That's what I would in a perfect world. And then when you get into the 5th, 6th, and 7th round, if Nussmeier is still there, go ahead and take him. Because the Saints had the 10th pick in the 5th round, so you're going to get 3 picks within a 20-pick range. If Nussmeier's still there, though, go ahead and grab him in the 5th round. There's a lot of upside to doing that, and you can worry about trading Rattler afterwards. Because right now, you got Zach Wilson that you picked up in the offseason right now. So those are the 3 quarterbacks on staff for you: Shuck, Rattler, and Zach Wilson. You can use one of those as a trading piece in future, but there's too much value there, in my personal opinion, to pass up on him.
Well, this that is a surprise that Clemson's quarterback Klubnik was drafted ahead of Garrett Nussmeier, and I can't wait to find out after the fact when people really start talking for real, what did they see about Garrett Nussmeier that they didn't like, right? And in the sense that we all thought, okay, well, he's got an injury excuse. He's got an injury excuse. He's got the thing on the spine. He's got the knee thing. He's banged up, and so that changed his mechanics. It changed his ability to make plays. But the fact that even after that came out and now he's healthy and he's doing the pro days and he's at Senior Bowl, supposedly had a good week and all that kind of stuff, he's still Klubnik ahead of Nussmeier? That's a surprise. And so I'm curious to see what the NFL scouts don't like about him. I want to hear what that is that they don't like about him so much, because to me, physically, he's better than Klubnik.
And I'm not saying Garrett Nussmeier was going to get drafted here and then start this season or anything by that measure, but he's now sitting here where there's really no team left that has in my opinion, a competing starting job left that is going to take him. That now you're you're buying for your backup quarterback here. So whoever takes Garrett Nussmeier is aiming to keep him as a backup.
Oh,
on
I don't.
staff.
Yeah, I think that's a done deal. I don't think there's many.
The
other
only
than
team that was left that you could make an argument for was the New York Jets, who has Geno Smith now. That maybe you could have Geno as a veteran and bring in Nussmeier or whatever. But now you're in that position.
The NFL thinks he's a couple of years away from being on the field, and we'll see where he lands.
By the way, a little update too. Let's get back to college baseball talk before. McNeese lost the heartbreaker last night over in the Southland Conference. They lost an extra inning game to UTRGV. By the way, have y'all ever seen highlights from UTRGV baseball?
I have.
Like thousands of people.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it's an amazing atmosphere down on the border down at Rio Grande Valley. I mean, they love them some baseball. It's remember, it used to be Southeastern was the number one team in the Southland Conference when it came to fans and atmosphere and all that. That's not the case anymore. Yeah, they still do a good job, but UTRGV, they could compete with anybody in the country. I mean, better than a lot of
they're good in that
good fun
Southland
fun baseball team.
All right, we will take a break, be back. Final segment coming up live from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. Don't go anywhere.
Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you alongside Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan, live from BRQ Seafood and Restaurant. They're where the place is buzzing. They have brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 10:30 to 3. Some new things on the lunch menu, by the way. They've got the barbecue overstuffed potato. That's choice of pulled pork or pulled chicken. brisket as well, or the seafood stuffed potato, which is shrimp and crawfish. They also have black and red fish sliders that are so good. The barbecue chopped sandwich, which is, of course, chopped brisket, pulled pork, barbecue sauce, coleslaw on a brioche bun. Or you can go a little more mainstream with the shrimp and grits or the French toast sandwich as well, which is turkey, ham, Swiss, brioche, French toast, maple syrup, strawberry pepper jelly with some side of baked breakfast potatoes and seasonal fruit. Just so many good options at BRQ in Baton Rouge. We were talking before we go into the break, a little college baseball going around. Both McNeese and Raging Cajuns over in Lafayette have a little work to do to ensure themselves in the postseason of their conference tournament and on that bubble. LSU, I don't know that there's a solution in sight for them. They are now lost 7 in a row in SEC play, which is, that hasn't happened a whole lot in the history of this program. They're 6-13 overall, 11 games left to go in SEC play, and now they're tied with the second to last,
for 14th place.
tied for 14th place out of 16 teams with South Carolina.
The only team,
Kentucky last
only
night.
team behind them is Missouri, of course.
And South Carolina comes here soon.
Yeah, next week,
weekend?
next weekend.
Now, everybody
Florida.
makes everybody
Florida's the
makes
following weekend.
everybody makes the conference tournament in the SEC. It's just an impossible route to start on a play-in game type thing and go from there.
But yeah, so LSU's got 2 games left, of course, against Mississippi State this weekend. South Carolina comes to town next week with obviously no Paul Maneri. Then they go on the road to Athens to play Georgia before finishing up with Florida at home. So it's by no means a cakewalk to the finish line here for the Tigers, and they need just about every game left on the schedule to get into the postseason.
It blows my mind how it's just fallen apart for LSU so quickly. I don't know that there's been a season that I can remember since I've been following LSU baseball since the mid '80s where they had so much expectation. They started off so good, 8-0 with a team batting average of like 368 or something. You had just come back from Jacksonville where you just dominated the competition that weekend. You beat a UCF, you beat a Indiana, you beat a Notre Dame. And then all of a sudden, you've had, 16 and 19 since then?
16 and 19 since.
This season feels very similar to 24, but it's actually worse than 24 by most measurable senses on almost every front. It feels that way because you came off the high of a national championship in 23, and, of course, you lose guys like Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens, and it just felt like a step back down. Then they pick it up last year where it wasn't perfect, but they finished the year so hot and strong that you felt great coming in this year the way it started, and I mean, you just the wheels came off quickly, and they have not been found to put back on the train.
Well, after the 8-0 started, they've just been going south. Throw in a handful of injuries, some guys underperforming, not being productive. Throw in all the wild
Not
pitches,
being clutch.
all the wild pitches and pass balls, and the hit batters and the base on balls, errors at the untimely time moments, and it's just not a good baseball team.
No, it will come full circle for what you said earlier today. Bad baseball teams find ways to lose baseball games, and that's what LSU did last night. I mean, even some of their huge playmakers. Mila made that great play at short yesterday to keep the game clean in the 9th inning and move it to extras. But also still, Milam didn't get the double play ball and didn't get his foot down on the bag to turn the double play in a clutch moment. Like
Caraway made the throw in error.
Exactly. It's just every time LSU feels like they start finding momentum somewhere else, the momentum is they're pulling the momentum from somewhere else. It's not being evenly distributed or gained from it. They are pulling from one way, and it's causing something else to mess up in another.
And what LSU has also been this season, Hunter and Ronnie, is a full description of the fact that it's a 9-inning game and you got to get 27 outs, because they've had some ups and downs within the context of 9 innings, but being down by 7 and coming back and tie it, then lose, down by 7, come back and win, or down by 5. So it's just magnifies 27 outs, 9 innings. They have 3-0 top of the first last night, but there's a long way to go in that game, and that panned out.
Time will tell. But from the eye test alone, I can tell you right now that LSU and South Carolina are tied in the standings, but LSU is a hell of a lot better than South Carolina. It's just the fact that in these key moments, LSU finds a way to mess it up. Where South Carolina is just a really, really bad baseball team, in my opinion, LSU has just found in the late stages of games to toss away games that they have a lead at some points.
want to tell you about Louisiana Custom Turf. One of our sponsors is the original and longest standing turf company. We talked to them last week on the show. It's a Louisiana Custom Turf. The original and longest standing turf company in Louisiana, proudly serving the state for over 26 years. They supply professional grade artificial turf tools, and installation supplies for contractors, landscapers, and sports facilities. They don't just sell turf. They help you plan it, deliver it, train you to install it, for materials to take off to job site delivery, turf installation training. Contractors looking to add turf, contact Louisiana Custom Turf. Remember, everybody's got those simulators these days and everything, and so that's where you definitely want to try it over there, Louisiana Custom Turf. Headed to the Zurich tomorrow afternoon to go check that out. Hopefully the weather will be okay. You got a lot going on down in New Orleans, of course, with Jazz Fest and everything. I will not be in that number because I don't like BO, mud, rain, sweat, red, green, love all the music, but unless it's in the air condition, I don't know that that's really my thing. Tonight, William Schmidt going on the bump, must win, right?
Hey, absolutely. Every game from now on feels like a must win to you, especially today and the way that with the Kason Evans news went, with the discomfort in the arm or on the uncertainties with him. You just feel like you got to win today's game. First pitch today at 6:30.
By the way,
ESPN2 tonight.
By the way, Hunter McCann, you're a big soccer guy. I was in Kansas City on Monday for a College Baseball Hall of Fame Celebrity Golf Tournament. They're hosting 4 teams in the World Cup are going to be based in Kansas City, including Argentina. I think they're going to have 9 games played over there. So the town was buzzing about soccer, although I don't really care. But it was fun. And I did take a picture with the World Cup trophy.
That's awesome.
I'll show you that. Yeah. Pretty cool right there. Hunter McCann, former goalie, largest goalie ever in the history of
St. Michael goalie.
Deontay Scout to the Buccaneers.
All right. No Saints. Hopefully they take a DB that makes Joel Davis happy. For Tommy Crichton,
Turn the key on something new at All Star Automotive. We're proud to be under new